Real-time coaching essentially is a process that equips managers with a methodology to help their team members in performance. We define coaching. If you think back to the early days of transportation when we had the stick coach, what was a stagecoach for? Well, a stagecoach would pick people up from where they are and deliver them to where they want to go or need to go. Likewise, we look at coaching as a process that takes people from where they are to where they want to or need to go in a way that they couldn't get by themselves. Real-time coaching now is the process that we equip managers to help their direct reports or their team members with. If you think of it this way, quite often management, when you look at the research over the years, quite often managers are promoted into management at some point because of their technical skill and ability. Taking a chef and helping them to get into their own restaurant business. And there's a whole slew of different skills. And what ends up happening is people start focusing on behaviors. So, for example, I want this result. Here's the action that creates the result. So let's manage that action. Let's try to get people to engage in certain actions that we know will deliver the result. And we sort of call that boss management, trying to get people to do what we want them to do. And we talk about that as being trying to manage compliance. Whereas coaching backs up a little bit, and it looks at the fact that people own their own actions and they have choice of their actions. So rather than trying to tell them what to do all the time, we try to coach them with a strategic questioning that aligns their choices with the desired outcomes of the organization and the team. So real-time coaching is that process that helps managers to do that in a very strategic, research-based way. It's interesting. We've been asked that question over the years, and I think we've tested it so much. And it's one of the unique processes that what I love about real-time coaching is that when we work with organizations, we've worked from CEO to supervisors that are, in management perhaps just less than 2 years. And it has received overwhelming response in terms of the actual application and benefits to the organization. Now, what differs, though, is that the way we facilitate it with a senior management team, usually going off-site and so forth, might be a little bit different, and sometimes we can condense things compared to a group of mid-managers or even supervisors in a software firm. So it really has an application right throughout the organization. We had one CEO years ago who said to us, this is more than just a leadership program, it's a communication program. Because the reality is, when you take the real-time coaching model and the process, it can be applied to not only direct reports, but colleagues. We've had people come back to us months later and says, this has really helped me in coaching my actual manager, not just my direct reports, but coaching my manager and sharing with them how best to coach me and other people. So it's a very useful, applicable process once it's learned by managers at any level, from CEO to supervisor. I think one of the things we're seeing in the workplace today is there are so many challenges, particularly in this global economy. There's a significant amount of change. There are, in some cases, up to 4 generations in the workplace, from the mature traditionals right down to the Gen X, Gen Y, and millennials, as they call them. And the third thing is that the challenge of trying to do more with less resources. So I think that's a mantra that many people discuss today, is how can we do more with less? Now, we believe at Excel Group, we believe that no organization really achieves results. People do. So to that extent, how can we as leaders, managers, bring out the best in people? And I think what we're seeing in this economy too, part of the challenge is that there's so much stress in organizations now. There's people being let go. Managers are shorter in their patience and their emotional strength. And now more than ever, I think something like real-time coaching is just a great fit to move the organization in the direction that they need to go. There's a lot more conflict sometimes. For example, one of the things we've found is that the millennial generation, they're very quick to turn off. And as you've probably heard, the quote is that people don't quit their job as much as they quit their boss. So if they're not being coached in a way that they're being engaged, they're leaving a lot faster. And so retention is also a challenge that many organizations face today. How can we retain really great talent? How can we leverage the talent, our human capital? How can we bring them to a place where they are much more engaged than what our competition is doing with their human capital? And how can we engage them in such a way that the ultimate payoff is that our customers and clients are much happier with our services and products than our competition? And to that extent, that's where real-time coaching really comes into play, is really how do we leverage the strengths and talents of our human capital in a way that achieves superior results for the organization.